When you have another hole to fill, you might be surprised about the concern level. Plus, we're less than a week away from the first workouts at the NFL Combine. Hear from our draft expert on why Cam Ward is his #1 quarterback. And Michael Penix looks like a budding star for the Falcons. So what will be the key for success? We'll tell you why Atlanta might be dangerous in 2025. Plenty of things to get to with Mina Kimes, Damian Woody, Jeff Darlington, and draft analyst Matt Miller will join us later. Let's start here with the Super Bowl champs going through another coordinator change. It's the 5th one in 3 years as the Eagles promoted Kevin Patullo to become their offensive coordinator as Kellen Moore left to become the Saints head coach. The 43-year-old Patullo has a long history with Nick Sirianni, going back to their days with the Colts in 2018. Eagles star wide receiver A.J. Brown on board. He loves this move.
I truly feel like it's a great hire. He already has been involved in almost everything. Him, Kellen, and Nick basically called the plays already. So it's a great hire, and he's already familiar with us. We have a great relationship, and he knows what we need to work on because he's been there, and he's been there for a while. And like I said, he's already been a part of all the situations and the conversations and everything. So I think it's a great hire.
Continuity is key, especially when you see this. Working with new play callers, nothing new for Jalen Hurts. Patullo will be the 6th play caller Hurts has had since entering the NFL and the 13th one since his college career began in 2016. Despite all the change, Hurts has the 2nd most combined passing and rushing yards, touchdowns, I should say, over the last 3 seasons, only behind Josh Allen. And let's bring our crew here and start with you, Darlington. Patullo's never called plays. That's going to be a big storyline here in the conversation. Why did Nick Sirianni decide to promote within?
Well, for one, that list. I mean, that is fascinating. Like, carry the 1, add 2. That's literally, on average, more than 1 play caller per season through his college career and professional career. So listen, they did want continuity, and they do believe that Patullo is ready for this job. Pass game specialist in the past, as well as associate head coach. And Jalen Hurts also has spoken highly of him in addition to A.J. Brown. The question, of course, you could ask is, well, why didn't they promote him last year when they instead went outside and hired Kellen Moore? Different scenarios. Last year, they wanted to revitalize the offense. They wanted a resurgence, a new identity. They got that in Kellen Moore, and they do believe that what Kellen Moore leaves behind will transfer to the future. So the team believes Patullo, first of all, is ready. There is a trust between him and Nick Sirianni that has long existed. And perhaps even more important than that, there is a trust between Patullo and the players. And that right now, for a locker room that has seen its ups and downs, is probably the most critical component to this hire.
D. Wood here. We're talking about an offense that just set a playoff record for most points in NFL history. Can they sustain the success that we saw in the postseason with this change?
Absolutely, because they have the personnel to go out there and do it. You're talking about a Philadelphia Eagles offense that had the best offensive line of football, the best running back in football, 2 of the best wide receivers that we have in the game of football, and a very good tight end in Dallas Goedert. And so I don't think the philosophy for the Philadelphia Eagles on offense is going to change. This is going to be a rushing attack first before anything else because they have the personnel up front to do it. Now, I know they got to get re-sign Mekhi Becton, who's a free agent, but if they can keep that unit intact, there's no reason to deviate from what was so successful in 2024 for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, to Damian's point, he's being set up to succeed, right? This offense is like an all-star team, from the skill players to the offensive line, to the quarterback to the running back. Probably the best situation for any first-time offensive coordinator in the NFL right now. I would say if there's concern, it's twofold. One, we said the exact same thing a couple of years ago when they went in-house and promoted Brian Johnson. Oh, he's set up to succeed. All you have to do is just replicate what Shane Steichen did, and obviously that didn't work out. So I'm not saying it's going to happen again. My point is only that talent isn't the only determinant of success. And then for Patullo, and I think just for offensive coordinators in general, there's the players you have at the beginning of the season, and then there are the players that you work with as the season goes on. If there's injuries on the offensive line, or if A.J. Brown or Saquon Barkley or Hurts, God forbid, are out for any number of games, Does he have the ability to make adjustments? Also, in games and in season, if something's not working, if there are certain pressure looks that Hurts is struggling against, can he give him answers? These are the things we're going to learn as the year goes on, things that we simply don't know right now in February.
Excellent point. The adaptability. We saw Kellen Moore do that as well this entire season and in the postseason, coming off his two best games. That was in the NFC Championship as well as the Super Bowl. Let's stay in the NFC East now. Cowboys right guard Zack Martin informed Jerry Jones yesterday that he is retiring. The 34-year-old was an All-Pro 7 times in his fantastic career, but couldn't finish his 11th season due to an ankle injury that would later require surgery. Now, good luck replacing this guy. Zack Martin was phenomenal. I mentioned 7 first-team All-Pro selections in his career, which is tied for the most among guards all time. In that span, he had just 7 holding penalties. He also ranked top 5 in both pass block and run block win rate over the last 5 seasons. Damian, we're talking about a guy where a gold jacket will be coming down the line. It's just a matter of when. What made Martin so special?
Well, it was a lot of things. Number one, just him being a technician. You're talking about a guy you had just mentioned, 7 holding penalties. You don't achieve something like that if you're not a technician, if you're not very good at the little things in your craft. Obviously, very strong mauler type guy, can displace guys against their will, great in pass protection. And the biggest thing as far as when you talk about elite players on the line of scrimmage is when you needed the most, they always ran to Zack Martin's side. They always ran behind Zack Martin. So when the Dallas Cowboys were elite, especially on the offensive line, it was because of Zack Martin at right guard.
Yeah, and it all changed, too, in that draft, because guess what? Johnny Manziel was on the board, and Stephen Jones said, hey, Dad, hold up. We're not going to go with the quarterback. We're going to go with our offensive line and build it. And that started a great run there for the Cowboys in pushing the line forward. Now, with Zack Martin and 2-time Pro Bowler Tyler Smith, the Cowboys guards had the 4th best pass block win rate in the league in 2024, led by rookie Cooper Beebe. The Cowboys center were also great, combining for the 5th best pass block win rate. It was a different story on the outside where the tackles ranked 27th. So the Cowboys not only have to replace Martin, but they got to get better play out of their tackles. Mina, so there's another hole to fill here for the Cowboys. And obviously the cap goes up. You got some room here, but you also have some bills to pay here. How big of a concern is this?
Yeah. Not a huge concern, actually, because, and this kind of goes back to your story with them taking Martin over Manziel. The Cowboys have, for all the criticism sent their way, pretty consistently devoted draft resources towards continuing to invest in the offensive line. And they have young players in place, some of whom, who filled in for Zack Martin when he was injured last season. You have Brock Hoffman, who got starts at guard. Cooper Beebe, who's a center, who also played guard. We'll see, I think, how they view them internally. Tyler Smith is, of course, set